How you doing, guys? Today I'm doing my top video of what I think are the funniest movies I've ever seen. It turns out I did have more than plenty comedies to do this. Family films, I'm not sure yet. But I did have plenty comedies, and at number 10, and it ain't number 10 because it's the least funniest. It's just number 10 because there are a lot more fun. There's a lot of funnier movies in front of it, and but Ernest Scared Stupid. To me, this is probably the funniest of all the Ernest films. And really, they're all funny, but this is my personal favorite one. And I mean, who doesn't like Halloween that time of year? You got all good movies out, and and I watch this every Halloween. I make it a tradition to watch this. I'm kind of a stickler when it's certain movies that are based on a certain time of year. I only watch Christmas movies in December, and I only watch movies based around horror and scary stuff in October. And I usually have a month-long marathon. But this movie, one of the funnier of the Ernest movies, and it's my personal favorite. I like this one more than I do the rest of them. This one, number 9, I believe, is it's just wow, just so funny, and I laugh every time I watch it, and I've seen it numerous times. It's Liar Liar. It's so funny. I swear, Jim Carrey. To me, Jim Carrey is probably the funniest comedian of my generation. Just the stuff he's able to do. No disrespect to guys like Robin Williams and stuff like that, but Jim Carrey's movies are far and above. A lot of them are funnier. The only Robin Williams film I can find that I think is absolutely hilarious is Mrs. Doubtfire, which I do not have and I need to get. But he does have some good movies. But to me, Jim Carrey is probably the funniest man of my generation. He's just, everything he does is funny, and it's kind of, to me, it's kind of unfortunate that his career slacked off now and everything, because he used to come out with great movies every year and they were hilarious. But I kind of hope we see another great I don't want to see no more family Jim Carrey. I want to see some old funny ass Jim Carrey. No more of that kid friendly Jim Carrey shit. This one is just, I swear it's a gas. I have all 4 of his movies. I probably could have put them all together and had them all equally as funny. But this was the first one, and it does have a lot funnier stuff in it, but the other ones are equally as funny. And it's the late great Chris Farley's first big film, Tommy Boy. And what I mean by first is, it's his first starring role. He was in Wayne's World 2, but this is really his first starring role. And just to watch, and he's probably the second funniest guy. He's certainly the greatest physical comedian of my generation. Of the 90s. The generation before had John Belushi. And so he's the physical guy of mine, and he's just he's hilarious, funny. I laugh every time I watch his movie. I laugh at every movie. Like I said, I probably should have put all his movies on here and had them tied, because they're all 4 funny as hell. But this is the one that started it, and that's the reason it's on here. I like all 4 of them equally. I hope one day they get Beverly Hills Ninja and Almost Heroes Blu-ray. They got this one in Black Sheep, but I hope that we do get the other ones on Blu-ray, because I would love to have the Blu-rays of those. This one is number 7, I believe. It's funny, got a lot of gags in it, and I'm sure everybody's seen this. Beetlejuice. And it's so funny. Or, depending on the movie pronouncement, it's Beetlegeist. In the movie, they call him Beetlegeist, but it's Beetlejuice. And it's, I love how the spelling is, because on here it's Beetlejuice, but actually in the movie, he spells it juice, Geuse. If you go back and watch the movie, it's Beetle, Geuse, is how he spells it. That's how he spells juice, and of course they think it's Geiss. But this movie is hilarious. I do need to get the Blu-ray to this too, because I bought this version of the 20th anniversary edition at my local Blockbuster when it was going out of business, and yeah, the DVD's in a little bit of rough shape. It plays, but I don't much like watching them if they've been rented, so I will probably get the Blu-ray of this later. But still, it's just crazy to watch this movie, and it came out, I think, like '88, and to look back on it. And actually, and you think about it, this movie's 25 years old this year. That's crazy. This movie, there better be a 25th anniversary Blu-ray of this coming out, because it's one of the funniest movies ever. And I know this is the 20th anniversary. It came out in '08, but they need a 25th anniversary edition. It's just so, I swear, it's just Beetlejuice. Just Michael Keaton is masterful in that movie. And number 6 is, a lot of people consider the funniest movie of all time. And it's up there. And a lot of people are going to wonder, well, why in the world is it number, 6? Well, there's a lot of funny movies in front of it. And that's Dumb and Dumber. I laugh every time I watch this film. And I remember growing up, being 10, 11, 12-year-old, it's come on TV, watching it, laughing my butt off. And of course, that at the time that happened, they just started doing the TV ratings. Because when I was growing up, when I was 6, 7-year-old, I don't remember them ever having the TV ratings. The TV ratings ain't been around that long. But I don't remember this movie having the TV rating when I was growing up. They would always do the thing at the beginning. This movie is rated PG-13, and it would show closed caption, rated something for content, it's closed caption, and modified for time allotted it or something. Then it would start the movie. They'd start it like it was like it would be on a video, and I always thought that was neat. Well, now they just start the movie. I ain't seen that in a while, so now they just start the movie and have the rating up there. But I remember back before they had the ratings, and they would always put the theatrical rating before it, and it'd say it's modified for time allotted and modified to fit your screen, all that mumbo jumbo. But every time I watch it, I laugh. And I hope that this fella, Jim Carrey, can get some stuff worked out, and then get that deal go through, and we can get Dumb and Dumber 2. We can get the sequel to this. Because I'm very interested in seeing, after almost 20 years, what Harry and Lloyd have been up to. At number 5 is the first of a, I think it spawned like 6 sequels or something like that, is Police Academy. This movie's just wild, I swear. And it's one of those movies that anybody, it's older than me. It came out in '84, so it's almost a 30-year-old movie. But anybody from my generation still remembers this, watching it on TV, and it's just the craziness of it. I swear, it's too funny. It's hard to explain it. I mean, Steve Guttenberg at this time, this was his big thing. And then I think you had the guy, Michael Winslow, who played Jones, who would do the sound effects, and he's really the key component of all the police academies he's in, is the sound effects he makes, and it's funny as crap. Just hearing him make sound effects and doing all the stuff and everybody reacted to it, it's hilarious. And of course you watch this, of course Kim Cattrall's in it. And everybody knows her from Sex and the City, but you look back on, and then she's also in a movie back then called Mannequin, and then there's another one at the Porky's or something. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure, but she's a cheerleader, and stuff. And they make a joke about her, being her character's a slut, and she barks when she's having sex. So, but you look back on these, and you look at Kim Cattrall, she was a babe back in the day. I mean, say what you will, but Kim Cattrall back in the day, she was fine. I mean, I tell you, she was a hottie, and and I ain't afraid to say it. You know, Kim Cattrall in the '80s, she's hot. You know, but if you've never watched this, check it out. I'm sure everybody's seen Police Academy and seen all the sequels, and I do need to get to sequels because Police Academy 2 ain't that bad. I mean, it's okay, but I do need to get all the Police Academies. They're all pretty funny. The first one was a classic. Number 4, in this movie, I swear you'll laugh till you hurt watching it. It's Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss and What About Bob? And my God, this movie, I swear, if you've never seen this movie, you need to find it. And I never thought I'd find this movie. It used to come on TBS all the time. And I'd laugh my butt off. Well, I was walking through Walmart one day, $5 bin, bam, right there it is. I was like, son of a monkey, I'm getting this. And it is funny. You know, and I could have probably put this in with the family movies as well because it's a PG film, but it's funny. And a lot of people say that PG from back in the late 80s, early 90s is different than PG now. And, you know, I've said, well, PG now replaced G because they ain't got no G-rated films. So, but my 10-year-old cousin watched this and laughed his butt off. So, of course, I let my 10-year-old cousin watch anything I watched growing up, I let him watch. I mean, hell, the stuff we watched growing up, we turned out okay, I guess. But, you know, check this movie out because the stuff that Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray do, Bill Murray puts him through so much crap in this movie, and I swear. And it's just one of those things where you know there's somebody in real life that even if you're not related to them, you've seen some people like this. Or you know somebody in your family that's like Bob, you know, and I swear it's you know, you can kind of relate to what Leo Marvin, you know, his character, Dr. Leo Marvin, Richard Dreyfuss' character is going through, and you know, but it's just, I swear, I can't say enough about how funny this movie is. But check it out if you ain't never seen it. The critics say it's howlingly funny and gives it 2 thumbs up. That's Siskel and Ebert giving it 2 thumbs up, and they don't hardly give anything good the 2 thumbs. So, but yeah, check out that movie. Number 3, and it was a little bit hard to do the top 3 in what order because I love this movie, and I do need to get the Blu-ray that came out recently, like last year, I think it was, and it's Clue, and yes, based on the board game, but the difference between this one as opposed to Battleship, this movie's good. I've never seen Battleship, but I heard the whole plot line of the movie Battleship revolving around a jelly-filled or glazed donut or something stupid. I'm not 100% sure. This remains faithful to the board game. It's got the typical characters, you know, Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, Miss White, Miss Peacock, Colonel Mustard, and Mr. Green, and then Mr. Body. And then, of course, there's a couple of characters added special for the movie to add to it. And, you know, I mean, it's that you got Christopher Lloyd. This movie came out in '85. So Christopher Lloyd is done this movie and Back to the Future. It's in the same year. And you've also got Mr. Tim Curry. Tim Curry is funny as hell. Alright? Well, and I find it kind of like, apparently Christopher Lloyd's his mission in life, his purpose was to play a doctor or a scientist and everything, because he's Professor Plum in this one, and he plays Doc Emmett Brown in Back to the Future, and he plays a scientist and a doctor in the Piranha movie. So his life, he was meant to play a doctor or a scientist. He's actually a scientist, astrophysicist. So it's kind of weird because and when you see him with brown hair, you know, you're like, that's Doc Brown. What the hell? You know, as soon as you see it, you're like, it's Doc Brown. Doc Brown has got a pseudonym playing as Professor Plum in this, and you know, but Tim Curry makes it. I swear, Tim Curry does a masterful job and should have at least won some kind of award for this, because he's everywhere in this movie as far as the action and comedy goes, and the climax of it. And it has 3 endings, and if you've never seen it, check it out, because it's got 3 endings. And I've read that they filmed all 3 endings at the same time, but when they released it in theaters, one section of the country got one ending, one section got the other, and the other one got, and then the last section got the other. So all 3 endings were different depending on where you lived. Well, I seen this on TV one night on, I think, USA Network one morning. It was a night, or what was it, one night or one morning? It was a morning, about 9, 10 in the morning. This came on, and I watched it. Never seen it before. And I laughed my butt off. Well, it came on AMC Network not long after that. And AMC at the time had just been known for Westerns. Well, they started branching out. And they showed this. And they had all 3 endings. And I laughed my butt off. I laughed till I hurt. Excuse me. I laughed till I couldn't catch my breath. And they said, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "I just seen a funny movie I had never seen before." So, you know, it's, the 3 endings make this movie. I mean, you have to watch it for the 3 endings, because it's just, you know, and of course there is an option on the DVD to play it with one of the 3 endings played at random. And I've never done that because I like all 3 endings. And I don't know if you do that every time and it would play all, you know, it would choose which one of them, but I would say after a while it would pick the same one over and over. And I just watch it with all 3 because it's funnier that way. Number 2 is the movie that spawned, it was a successful stage play, spawned a successful TV show with Tony Randall, Jack Klugman, and most y'all that grew up in that time know what I'm talking about. Those that grew up in my time that watched Nick at Night back before they had TV Land on cable, we watched Nick at Night, you know what show I'm talking about. And it had a sequel. And of course, to me, it's the greatest duo, the greatest comedy duo there's ever been. I don't want to hear another argument. There's no funnier duo. You know, with all due respect to David Spade and Chris Farley, there's no funnier duo than Lemon and Matthau and the Odd Couple. This is the original Odd Couple from '68. This is before the TV show. Now, that there was a stage play, a Broadway play, and if I remember right, and I think I might be, but I think Matthau played it on the stage. Matthau was Unger on the stage, and no, he was Oscar Madison, I think, and Art Carney, who's known, who's Jackie Gleason's show was Felix, and they got real life best friends to play Oscar and Felix, and this is by far the best. I like the TV show. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tony Randall and Jack Klugman are 2 of the greatest underrated actors of all time. Jack Klugman, he's a great actor. He was great as Oscar, and he also had another show where he played like a detective doctor or something, which is kind of the inspiration of the show Diagnosis Murder. But these 2 are the originals. They're the funniest duo ever. Bar none, there'll never be 2 guys that did more movies together that would be funnier. Their first movie together was The Fortune Cookie, and every movie they did together was a hit and a success. They did The Fortune Cookie together, they did this, they did Grumpy Old Men, Grumpier Old Men, Out to Sea, Odd Couple 2, which had the same people, like Neil Simon, everybody was able to work on it. They did 7, 8 movies together. There's some of them I can't remember, but they did a lot of movies together. But they are the originators of the buddy films. They're 2 best friends. They were brothers. They did truly, love each other in the, way like brothers would and everything. And you can tell that they really were real life best friends because the way they, the camaraderie on screen, the way they feed off each other. But, 1968, if you've never seen it, check it out. I know some people don't like older movies, but I mean, and you can kind of tell with the way the styles are, it is a little bit of older film, but hey, it don't matter. Funny's funny. So, but yeah, it's the two Godfathers as the Mount Rushmore of the comedy group. That's what these two guys. Forget about Dean Martin and Jerry Lee Lewis. These guys are the Mount Rushmore of the buddy movies, right? Because they did more movies together than anybody I can think of. The next two films I had to tie for number one because I couldn't decide which one was funnier. Because they're both funny. And actually, one of them is actually, I think, 50 years old this year. And the other one is a little bit of it's not that old. I mean, it's almost weird to think it's 20 years old. But they're tied for number one. And the first one is Friday from 1995. And it is weird to think that this movie is almost 20 years old. That is hard to think. And probably next year or 2015, we will probably get a 20th anniversary Blu-ray of this and a theatrical re-release. We should get a theatrical re-release, but I don't know. Nobody's not seen this movie, and everybody you know can quote this film, and stuff. It's just, the late great Bernie Mac is in it, and he's funny for the short time he's in it, but it's one of those films that everybody has seen. Anybody like over, anybody 17, 18 year old and up. Some people even younger, teenagers and up, have seen this film. Either like me, like my generation on TV, or whatever. Later buying it, you've seen this film. And this is the extended director's cut. There's a couple of things in it that's not in the versions on TV and stuff. And it's got like a documentary and behind the scenes stuff, theatrical trailers, music videos from, Ice Cube and I think Dr. Dre, I think. And the surround sound, it's one of those 5.1 surround sound. And my chair I sit in here has speakers in the back of it. And I don't use it much except when I'm watching certain movies because there's a short in it and it gives like some kind of weird feedback. I think there's a faulty wiring in the chair. But I like watching this movie in surround sound because it's funny as crap to hear the stuff in surround sound. But, for anyone that's never seen Friday, check this movie out. I want to hear a bunch of kids now make an excuse about this movie being too old. This movie come out in 95, all right? It ain't that old a film. If this movie's old and it come out in 95, that means my generation's a bunch of senior citizens to you bunch of teenagers. This movie ain't that old, all right? 18-year-old is not that old a movie. This movie's older than most of the people today. Is old, or if not just a few years older than most of today's kids. And the last one, and I'm hoping this came out last year at Walmart for $10. And I would say that MGM or whoever releases, 20th Century Fox releases their Blu-rays now, will probably either meant to release this as the 50th anniversary Blu-ray, or they will do a 50th anniversary one. But this is basically what the Expendables now is with all the action stars. This is the comedy version, and this movie it's a mad, 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 mad world. I mean, if you can see the cover there, all the comedians on that cover, and it's also, and the comedians that's not on there, it's got, Spencer Tracy's in the movie, and he's funny in it, Milton Berle, of course, in it, Jonathan Winters, Mickey Rooney, Ethel Merman, Sid Caesar, Jim Backus, who's Thurston Howell III, he's in this, plays an alcoholic pilot. You've got Andy Devine, Peter Falk, who was Columbo. I'm just reading a few of the big names. Norman Fell, Buster Keaton, and that's right, the Buster Keaton, the silent comedian, Buster Keaton. And he ain't even got a line. I only think he's got but one line in the movie, but you can tell it's Buster Keaton because he's still, as old as he is in this movie, and he looks like he's by his 60s, he still moves like Buster Keaton, and I don't think I think he has one spoken line, and it's one of the only times you ever hear Buster Keaton speak on film. Don Knotts is in this film. Jerry Lee Lewis is in this movie. Carl Reiner, the Three Stooges, and this is 63, so the Three Stooges in this one are Moe, Larry, and Curly Joe, because everybody knows Shemp and Curly had died, so it's Curly Joe. It's Curly Joe Dorita. It's the other Curly Joe. It's not the first, Joe. It's Curly Joe. But Jimmy Durante. But it's funny because Stanley Kramer, produced and directed by Stanley Kramer. But it's just the comedians in this movie, and it is so funny. I swear, it is the all-star of comedian movies. Before Expendables came out, I said they ought to make an Expendables version of this. Make an action movie version of this. Make a version of it's a mad, 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 mad world, but make it action and put all the action stars in it. And sure enough, Sylvester Stallone eventually made Expendables. But I think what the magic of this one is it's a one-off deal. They do it and there's not a sequel to it. But, if you've never, you have to check this movie out. It is so funny. I mean, there'll be a lot of faces that older fans of older classic movies know. And even some younger fans I'm sure might recognize Mickey Rooney, and you might recognize Jonathan Winters. But only some of us older ones will know who Peter Falk Milton Berle is, because Milton Berle died back in 99, 2000. He's been dead 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. Maybe even longer. I remember when Milton Berle died. Really check this movie out if you've never seen it. I got this Blu-ray for $10 at Walmart. I think you can probably still find it there. You can order it. It's $10. I would wait around though and look up and see if they're coming out with a 50th anniversary edition of this. If this was meant to be the 50th anniversary edition, then I'd get it, because it's got a tribute. The special features on it is a tribute to the movie. It's got some extended scenes, a theatrical trailer, and then the 1970 reissue trailer. And this movie is rated G, so you won't see any bad, vulgar stuff. It could have went with the family films too. It's a good family comedy. It's long though, 159 minutes, so it's a pretty long movie. But it doesn't drag. All the moments are funny and everything. The action is just it's hilarious. I highly recommend this movie. If you've never seen this movie, of all these movies, and I'm sure most everybody who watches this have seen almost every one of those. If you've never seen this one and you've never seen The Odd Couple and Clue, you probably need to go check him out. But really, you got to check this one out too, because this is like the all-star game of comedies. That was my comedy video. I'm glad I got more comedies than I thought I did. I was going to combine the family films with it, but I may do my video, if I have enough, I may do family films next week. And, that'll basically probably consist more of Disney movies than anything else. I don't know if I've got that many Disney films there. I got a few. If I don't have enough of family movies together, movies that, movies I would consider I watch with the whole family, then I'll probably do, move on to action or western or something. But, be sure to stay tuned for that, and I will come out with the best of the 80s. I will do that, but I'm saving it and best of 90s for last, cause you gotta do the best of the decades for last. And I got a lot of 80s movies, so it's gonna take a while to sift through the 80s and get a lot of the 80s movies, and I've got some of them written down. I writ a lot of them down that I'm going to put in the video. So I will do 80s, I promise you, but I got them written down. I got to filter through, it's quite the process. And then 90, I'll do a 90s video too. So stay tuned for that. I don't think I got that many 90s films. That's kind of weird because I'm a 90s kid. I grew up watching them movies. But I'll do a best of 90s. I may do a best TV shows. If you want to see, let me know. I have a few TV series, and I have like some Nickelodeon, King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead. I've got DuckTales, Chip and Dale. I have some of the Nickelodeon ones. So if you want to see, let me know if you want to see best of TV shows, TV series, because I have a few that I can put in this. And I can just take one volume of each, and and have it represent the whole entire set. But if you want to see that, if you want to see a best TV series too, let me know, because I'll do best of the TV series as I've got as well. But thanks for watching the video. I'm sorry I rambled a little long there at the end, but that's what I do. But you know what to do below the video. I don't need to tell you. You're smart enough. But for those that don't know, rate and subscribe. Leave your comments. I love hearing from you. Like I said, if you want to see a best of TV series and see me rate, TV shows that I have, please let me know. I'll do it. Most of them are animated. The only live action one I have is House. House is the only live action TV series I have. That and the Magnificent Seven TV series. So if you want to see me rank them, please let me know, because I'll be glad to do it. And everything. Most of them are animated, and I'm sure most of them it's my age. I'm 26. My age or older have grew up on most of them. So I'll be glad to do that. But thanks for watching the video. Sorry I rambled a little longer at the end. I tend to do that. But next week I'm going to try to do best family movies if I can find a scratch enough together. If I can't, it'll be best action films probably. And then I will get the best 80s and best 90s, but I'm going to save them for last because they're the best. But we'll see you later.